Good morning. You'll have to excuse the hair. I've just woke up. I look part witch, part mermaid. But that's because I've just had 2 days intensive training on a coaching course that I'm currently studying for. And I was reading up for the next week. And one of the things we're going to have to look at is timeline coaching, which is not something I've come across before. So I thought I'll get to grips with this and the principles and see how I can adapt this to make sure that it's going to work for my neurospicy self and my neurospicy peeps. So one of the things that I was considering was that autobiographical memory is relatively it's relatively common to have challenges around autobiographical memory in neurodivergent people. So that can affect your ability to recall your personal experiences, structure your personal history, and use those memories to guide present and future behavior. So as a timeline coach, or if you are using timeline coaching, I think it's important to understand some of those challenges. So one of the challenges that neurodivergent people experience is fragmented memory. That's where the events aren't stored in a coherent sequence. You may also find that sensory processing issues, where you are either overstimulated or understimulated, can affect the brain's ability to store information and memories and encode them. And it can also stop you from recalling them, or you may recall them at an inappropriate time. For example, if it was a very horrible experience, it might be something that kind of replays on your mind. Executive functioning difficulties are well known, well, let's call them challenges, and that can be challenges in organising, focusing your attention, working memory, ironic, and it can affect your ability to form and retrieve autobiographical memories. That, again, these are differences, not deficits, but we do need to think about how we can access some of the coaching methodologies and make them personalised to who it is that we are supporting in our coaching practice. So again, emotional regulation, high levels of anxiety or emotional dysregulation can interfere with memory recall. We also might want to have a little think about how we can use structured memory retrieval using guided questions. So instead of saying something like, tell me about your childhood, you might say something like, can you tell me about a specific birthday you do remember? If we are thinking about trying to build a timeline in chronological order, maybe we could use a visual representation to show where things happen, but not necessarily have them recounted in that particular order. And that will help organise those memories sequentially and visually without the client having to do so. Photo albums and journals, maybe encourage those, and that can help some memory recall. If you are reviewing those items, it might prompt memories, provide some context. And then we have, sensory anchors. So if there is a favourite toy or a perfume that reminds them of something, or a favourite food that reminds them of an event, all of those things could be helpful to trigger a memory of a related event, like a wedding cake or something like that. It might also help, but obviously isn't always possible, if people want to focus on a specific event, if they were to revisit the place where the event took place. Really key to all of this is creating a safe and non-judgmental space for sharing those memories and being patient, supportive, and acknowledging any emotional reactions. So mindfulness techniques can help with this, and they can help reduce anxiety, and partializing or breaking down the events, so breaking larger events into smaller segments. So if you were going to talk about a holiday, you might start with the journey, you might start with the travel from the airport, then you could talk about, say, like the hotel or who they visited, what was that like, specific activities. When they were there, they went to the beach, and the return separately, so it doesn't become overwhelming, and focusing on the details to support this bottom-up gestalt processing to create a whole picture, because many neurodivergent people are bottom-up thinkers. They'll focus on the detail before they get the big picture. Can be really helpful. And I think it's also about, regularly practicing these techniques in the order they are originally given, to be able to build the skill of using this bottom-up processing and detail-orientated approach to be able to then construct these autobiographical memories, or at least recall them in such a way that they can be used for timeline coaching. So those are my thoughts. I'm going to trial them in our next coaching practices, and I will let you know how it goes.